Welcome to the South Sudan National Participation Institute. Today, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, as it was mentioned in our previous presentations, we are going to talk about societal transformation. And with regards to this topic, we are going to talk about 4 points. The first one is we're going to briefly define what a transformation means. And then the second point is what comes to mind when we talk about this topic of societal transformation. And then the third point is we're going to talk about the new things or the methods that we need to use to transform societies. And then finally, we will talk about how massive society transformation happens. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the topics we are going to talk about. But before we do that, we just want to play music with the South Sudanese artist Sokalophony in his song Stay Focused. Do not run around, but stay focused. So ladies and gentlemen, please stay focused with this segment of music here by Sokalophony.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, thank you ladies and gentlemen for that segment of music with Sokalophony. So we're going to move on with our presentation. So the next point we are going to talk about is the definition of societal transformation, or the word transformation. According to the Webster New World College Dictionary, the 4th edition, transformation is defined as follows. Number 1, to change the form or appearance of something. That is the first definition. The second one is to change the condition, nature, or function of something. In other words, to transform. So, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, briefly, that is what the Webster Dictionary is defining the word transformation. Now, with regards to societal transformation, when we hear this word, usually what comes to mind are topics like the following, or definitions like the following. Renewal. That means we need to renew something. It can be a mindset, it can be a person, it can be a situation, and so on. And it can also mean new attitudes. Okay? Societal transformation can mean introducing new attitudes, or societal transformation can mean change, as it was defined by the dictionary here. It can also mean turnaround, or it can mean confession. And confession, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't necessarily mean guilt. You know, sometimes when people hear the word confession, it means guilt. But confession is actually admitting that there are mistakes that had happened, and then we need to make or correct that mistake or those mistakes. And transformation can also mean a new mindset. Okay? It can also mean a reform. So these are all the things that come to people's minds when they hear the word societal transformation. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to focus on those things that we mentioned earlier. We already defined what a transformation is. The next step is going to be, where does societal transformation start? Normally, when people hear the word societal transformation, they mean other people. They want other people to change first before they change. But our focus today is that if you want to see change, you yourself be the change itself. You know, you do not expect other people to change and then so that you can see that there is a societal transformation. And then that will make you change your mind or your attitude or so on, or not even change at all. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, if we want to see anything to change, if we want to see our societies change, we have to change ourselves. We have to change the way we think. We have to change our mindsets. And if there are mistakes, we have to correct those mistakes. Because let's face it, you cannot do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. No, it's not going to happen. But if we want to see different results, you have to change the way you do things. And in this way, you may see new results, hopefully for better. That is number one. Therefore, if we want to see any change in the society, we have to start with changing ourselves. And then secondly, we need to have a new mindset, a new attitude, new behaviors. And we also need to change the way we treat others. You know, if we are not treating other people with respect, with fairness, then we ourselves, we need to start changing those behaviors. Then we need to be considerate for one another, and we need to start changing the things that actually we want to see change. That is a very important point. And then the next point is, what are the important things or the methods that are needed in order for us to see societal change. In order to see societal change, that means we need to change the things that we do. If it is a routine that we do and we know that it's not working, we need to change that routine. If it is a situation that is not producing positive results, that means we need to also change that situation. If it is a system that you have already adopted and it's not working, then you need to change that system so that you make it work. If it is the way you treat people, if it is a disrespectful way that you treat people, then you need to change that in order for you to treat people with respect and dignity. The same thing, you need to develop positive attitudes, positive communication methods. You need to be tolerant, because in order for a change to happen, it needs tolerance, it needs time, it needs new social interactions, it needs dialogue. Because if all those things have changed, then even the dialogue itself will be a positive dialogue. And if there is a dialogue, a positive dialogue, hopefully certain things will change, and in this way, this will help in the transformation of, first of all, ourselves and then the society. And there are so many situations that had happened before that led to the societal change. Those situations were either individual, communal, societal, or even national or global. For example, let's take the story of Saul of Tarsus. You know, this person, he used to persecute the believers, the Christians who believe in the way of Christ. But after Jesus Christ showed himself to Saul on his way to Damascus, when he was pursuing the people of the new way to arrest them and bring them back for persecution in Jerusalem, Jesus showed himself to Saul, and then Saul realized that he wasn't doing the right thing. So that means he had to do a turnaround. He has to change his mindset, he has to change his attitude, he has to change the way he treats those people. And as a result, he was converted from Saul into Paul, and he became the one that will actually change the society, the Christian society, for better. So that was one. That was on the individual level. And there were so many other examples like that. I remember during the slave trade, there was one person by the name of John Wesley. He used to enslave people, bring them from abroad into the new world. But one day he realized that he wasn't doing the right thing, so he had to also transform himself, change his attitude, his actions, and he became one of the people who actually redeemed a lot of slaves. And he wrote one of the greatest songs in the Christian history, the song entitled "The Amazing Grace." So these are all transformations on the personal level. If you look at the societal level, you had seen that in Mozambique, in South Africa, in the 80s, 1980s, there was a bitter rivalry, bitter civil war between the two parties there. And then when they realized that that war wasn't leading them or the country anywhere, they had to come and talk peace. And then in that way, they dialogue, a positive dialogue, and through that dialogue, they transformed the mindset of the people, and they transformed their society, and they transformed their country for good. So that was on the national level. And then there are so many other examples that uh, has happened in the world, like in South Africa with Mandela, a person who had been jailed for 27 years, and after he was released from prison, as a natural uh, phenomena, or as a natural attitude, usually when humans are put in bondage for that long, some may want to take a revenge. But in the case of Nelson Mandela, the former president of South Africa, he didn't actually challenge the system by revenging against them, but instead he called for peace, he called for national reconciliation, and he called for a democratic system of governance. So in the end of the day, there was a peaceful transformation in South Africa from the apartheid system of discrimination into a multi-democratic party where all the people of South Africa are treated on equal basis. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move to the next segment of our discussion, which is massive transformation. In order for massive transformation to happen, certain things must happen also. We had seen that in the Middle Ages in Europe, when the people were living in darkness and lack of knowledge. So people begin to, in other words, a lot of thinkers came up with new ideas that promoted societal transformation. So from that time, Europe was transformed, was reformed from dark ages into the age of enlightenment, Renaissance. So, and we had seen that in other societies also, like in the Gulf countries, before the discovery of the oil, those countries were nowhere to be found in the world map. But due to their leadership capabilities in thinking about the future, let's take, for example, the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Zayed ibn Sultan Al Nahyan, he began to think about reforming the educational system, the health system, even before the discovery of the oil. And then after the discovery of the oil, he put in his plans into action. And that's why we see that the United Arab Emirates is one of the fast developing countries in the world. Not only that country, but you can see the countries in the Gulf region as well. So that is on the societal level. Other forms of massive societal level takes the form of revolutionary, like the French Revolution with under Napoleon Bonaparte. And then we had seen that also in Spain under the dictatorship of Franco. So usually things like this needs a lot of military intervention. But in our times now, we will not really expect a revolution that comes through massive military intervention, because there will be opposition throughout the world because of the human rights abuses and all the things that come with it. But we can also develop other methods like, reforming the educational system, reforming the mindsets of the people, introducing new methods in governance, in the society as a whole. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a broad topic, but today we just attempted to narrow it so that it can be brief and to the understanding of our viewers and listeners. So I hope we have addressed all the major segments of this topic. And even in today's time. You have heard in the last previous years and even days ago that in Cuba, you know, it was a dictatorship under Fidel Castro, but then he made a very peaceful transfer of power from him to his brother Raul. And then in the recent days, we heard that there was also another peaceful transfer of power in Cuba to the current president. So, ladies and gentlemen, so if we want to see societal transformation, as it was mentioned earlier, it has to start with the individual, himself or herself, and then in this way, our actions can be able to affect the people in our surrounding, and then this way, this will lead into societal transformation. Okay, so before we end, we just want to play another segment of music, and then after that we will conclude our discussion. So ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned with us. Just give me a few seconds, I'll be right back. Enjoy the music. Anyways, we're going to come to an end here. Thank you for watching. As we mentioned last time, we're going to start talking about the South Sudanese ethnic groups, beginning from our next presentation. And in between, we'll also continue to discuss the topics that concerns our societies. Thank you, and once again, we'll see you again. So that song was by Davido and Tiwa Savage from West Africa, in addition to the other stars in that region. I give them gratitude and thanks for their song, Africa Rise Up. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.